Welcome back to the show where we run you through all the Dolphins news you need to know about. After running through the news you need to know about, we run it through the fan Q&A where we answer Dolphins fans' questions. No fan Q&A this week. We definitely will do it next week. It's kind of sad because we were obviously, since the show started, I think we have always had the fan Q&A. But definitely next week we're going to do it. Trying to keep my voice as low as possible because of this mic. Hopefully it doesn't act up. I'm got to do with the cards that you are dealt. Unfortunately, hopefully it's not as bad. I know it's annoying to you guys, but hopefully it'll get better in the future. But anyway, let's get into the news you need to know about. A lot of really exciting news to talk about. Just around Dolphins fandom in general. I mean, the team is great. This is the most excited I've been for a season in a long time. Seeing them at voluntary workouts or mini camp or whatever you want to call it was really, really cool. Seeing Tua complete that pass to Tyreek just gets you really, really pumped up for the season. And I can't wait to see it all come together on Sundays because I do really, really like this team a lot on offense and defense. And like I've said in past videos, they did a really good job of just giving the offense a complete makeover that it desperately needed. So let's get into the news you need to know about. A lot of really interesting news here. This first news story comes from Pro Football Rumors. Dolphins to re-sign defensive tackle John Jenkins. John Jenkins, okay, let me start here. Jenkins, 32, obviously began his career in Miami in 2019, then came back in 2021, and now he will continue his career in Miami in 2022. The Dolphins are bringing him back on a one-year deal. Now, obviously, John Jenkins is exclusively a run stopper, but I think this is a sign of where the Dolphins are in the draft, especially since this re-signing is so close to the draft. I think this can kind of tell you what they're going to do in the draft. They obviously need depth at that position with all they really have in the interiors, Raekwon Davis, Zach Steeler, and Christian Wilkins. They clearly needed more depth at that position, and I think they're definitely not going to take one, at least in the third round. So that I think this is more of a sign of what they'll do in the draft, so keep your eye on that. And not only that, but John Jenkins is, I think, a good rotational defensive tackle. Really good against the run, good on first and second down. Obviously dealt with injuries last year. If I'm not mistaken, he did. I can't remember when he got hurt. Someone can hopefully remembers that down in the comment section below. But he was really good in 2019 for us. And I think he can continue to do that for us. Like I said, he's a good rotational player. And I think the biggest news story to come out of this is I don't think the Dolphins will be adding to that room, at least in the third and fourth round. So, like I said, clearly they needed depth at that position. Another news story that I think relates to the draft. The Dolphins, again, this comes from Pro Football Rumors. Dolphins work out former middle linebacker Reuben Foster. The Dolphins are auditioning linebacker Reuben Foster, according to Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald. Foster is now healthy, per Jackson's sources, and eager to mount another comeback. Obviously, Foster dealt with off-the-field issues and multiple knee injuries and surgeries. Was obviously really hyped up coming out of the draft. Very talented linebacker. If he didn't have those off-the-field issues and injury issues, he definitely would have been at least a top 15 pick. And just never really panned out in the NFL. I think he continued to have off-the-field issues when he got into the league. I can't really remember the timeline of Reuben Foster, but very talented player coming out of college, and maybe they were just seeing if he had anything left in the tank. I think this is definitely a sign, and there's another news story that I think backs this up, that the Dolphins are looking for someone to take over that Kyle Van Noy role, or even the middle linebacker position. I don't think they're going to find one in free agency to fill the hole of the middle linebacker position, because you could look at it two ways. I know a lot of Dolphins fans think Jerome Baker in that Kyle Van Noy, Dante Hightower role in this defense suits him better than playing at middle linebacker next to Landon Roberts. I definitely agree with that. I think Jerome is more suited in that role. I just don't think they're going to be able to fill the middle linebacker position who can do it better than he landed Jerome through free agency or the draft. I just don't think there's anybody who's going to be able to come in unless they just completely hit it out of the park in the third round and hit the lottery and can bring someone in to fill the middle linebacker position right away, because this defense is ready to win right now. They need someone to come in who knows what they're doing right away, and that's going to be hard to find in the third round of the NFL draft. So I think the best thing that they can do is go out and get someone to fill the Kyle Van Noy role through free agency, which leads us to our next news story. I don't think Reuben Foster is the answer to the Dolphins' issues, but clearly they recognize they have a problem. Where are they going to play Jerome Baker? I think they're going to play him at middle linebacker next to Landon Roberts. And then, like I said, I think through free agency, if they get this deal done, I think this is the best case scenario. They fill the Kyle Van Noy role in free agency and move Jerome Baker to middle linebacker. Jerome Baker, not Jerome Baker, to middle linebacker. I think that's what they're going to do. And I think if they do draft the linebacker, they should sit him for a year at least and let him maybe come in on specific downs, depending who they get, or just let them learn behind these guys right now. Because like I said, I think this defense is ready to win now. I don't think they're going to really find anybody in the third round to do that. But again, this leads us to our next news story. This comes from Pro Football Rumors. Melvin Ingram visiting the Miami Dolphins. This is the third free agent visit he has taken with the Miami Dolphins. He had a free agent visit, again, this comes from Pro Football Rumors. When his contract was first up with the Chargers, he had a free agent visit with us, and then he had another one, I think, this past offseason, and now he's doing it again this offseason. Like I said, I think, especially since this is this close to the draft, the Dolphins are recognizing they have a hole there. Because, like I said, Van Ginkel cannot do the Kyle Van Noy, Dante Hightower role. He sucks in coverage, okay? He is just not very good at it, and obviously that was an issue last year for this defense. That's why they moved Jerome Baker down and got Van Ginkel out of there, had him be more of a traditional pass rusher, and I think that really worked out for him. And I think, like I said, they just need someone to fill those shoes, and I think Melvin Ingram can do that. And again, this visit happened on April 12th. Obviously, it's April 20th. We're getting closer and closer to the draft. I think this would be a fantastic pickup for the Dolphins if they were able to get a deal done with Melvin Ingram. You know, Melvin had a really, really nice season with the Chiefs last year. At the end, when they made the trade to acquire him, had a really nice end of the year last year and a good playoff run. And I think he fits the scheme perfectly. He can drop back in coverage. He's still a really good athlete. I think filling that role, I think he's definitely a better version of Kyle Van Noy. And like I said, he's versatile. People forget what he did with the Chargers. And he did a little bit of this with the Chiefs too. He can play off the ball pretty well. I mean, he's played with a linebacker at a pretty high level before. He's a very versatile player. So I think he can still do both very well. And I think he would fit that role perfectly. And like I said, a defense that's already really, really good. Now, not only are you adding a really nice pass rusher, but he's really good against the run. And he can do some of those coverage things that are asked of you in that role, which I think that's the best outcome. You move Jerome Baker next to Landon, you put Melvin Ingram in that role, and then you draft someone to kind of learn under Melvin Ingram to take over that role in the future. Or you draft someone to learn under Landon and Jerome, and then move Jerome Baker back down to that role. It just kind of depends on what the Dolphins want to do, but I think that's the best kind of avenue there. This next news story comes from Pro Football Rumors as well. This is very interesting. I think, I forgot to, we're just going to gloss over this. This has been obviously a very hot topic around the NFL. I think Dolphins fans are sick of hearing about it. I'm sick of hearing about it. But the Dolphins Tom Brady thing will not go away. And I don't know why. I think it's just because nobody has anything to talk about. But who cares? It's annoying at this point. It's been talked about enough. And that's all I really have to say about that. It's the same thing that we talked about when the news first broke weeks ago. It's the same story. And they just keep recycling it. It's very weird. But anyway. On to some actual news. This comes from Pro Football Rumors. Dolphins and Mike Gesicki not close on a long-term deal. Again, this comes from Pro Football Rumors. This is what Mike had to say about a long-term deal with the Miami Dolphins. He says, I'm absolutely open. Again, this is what Mike Gesicki said. He said, I'm absolutely open to negotiation, but it's really not up to me. If they reach out, my agent will be listening. So the fact that they haven't even reached out to him is weird. I definitely think this is like a more of a wait-and-see thing with him, just to see how well he does in this offense. It's going to be interesting to see how they do it. I mean, this is a run-first offense. Mike Gesicki is a soft tight end. He always has been. He's not a good run blocker. He's never really been that great after the catch. He's just not a physical player. He's a finesse tight end. He's a pass-catching tight end. He's probably the least physical, successful tight end I've ever seen in my life. He's an odd duck. There's not a lot like Mike Gesicki, and that's a good thing and a bad thing. So it's going to be interesting to see how he fits in a run-first physical offense. Obviously, Mike McDaniel has a vision for him. They wouldn't have signed him to the franchise tag. So we'll see how it's going to be really interesting to see. It's going to be really fun to see how he uses all of these pieces on offense. But Mike Gesicki is definitely the one where I'm like, and I think he's going to be able to do it. I think the good thing, not even just focusing on how he is going to be implemented in the offense, but the good thing that Mike Gesicki has going for him is this is the most talented offense he's ever been a part of. This is the most talented offensive mind he's ever been coached with in the NFL. I mean, if you think about it, he was drafted into the Adam Gase era. We know Adam Gase's offenses were absolutely terrible, and from a talent perspective and a play calling perspective, it wasn't great. Then he gets the Brian Flores era, which we had an offensive coordinator every 2 seconds. Never had consistency there. So I think the thing he has going for him is this is definitely the most innovative, most creative offense he's ever going to be a part of, and the most talented offense he's ever going to be part of. So that he's been a part of so far in his career, I should say. So I think all of those things he's got going for him. I'm very excited to see, especially like I said, in a run-first offense. Don't mean to repeat myself so much. How are you going to fit someone like Mike Gesicki in his skill set? Is he going to be just a third down guy? If he is in there on rundowns, how will he be used? So it's going to be really fun to watch. Hopefully one thing I hope they do with him, and I think something that has just been terrible, has been done terribly, and since he's been, and I think honestly, if you look at some of the red zone stuff last year for the Dolphins, Mike Gesicki was missed a lot last year in some of those opportunities. Not only did the ball not go his way as often as it should have, plays should have been designed more to go to him. I think that's just an area of his game that has completely been misused. I think that's the one area of his game where I'm like, man, Mike Gesicki could easily be a 10-touchdown-a-year guy, and he should be, and he should have been last year. He was missed, I can think of 4 times where he was open for touchdowns, and he was just missed on them. So I think that's an area of his game that has been sorely underutilized, and I'm very excited to see, hopefully that get taken advantage of this year, because he is such a weapon in the red zone. And that's his game, is getting mismatched with smaller guys, and just his catch radius is ridiculous. So that's his game, and I think, and I hope that he's utilized in that area more. One other angle you could look at this is, since Mike Gesicki is only signed for a 1-year deal, maybe they bring in another young guy. I still like Hunter Long a lot. The Dolphins have 2 third-round picks. I like this tight ends class, though. McBride from, I believe, Colorado State. He's a nice player. I think he would fit the scheme. Maybe the Dolphins look into that. Maybe they look I think they do have a 4th-round pick, if I'm not mistaken. No, I think maybe they don't. Maybe they use their 2nd, 3rd-round pick on that. Who knows? But I don't know. It's definitely an interesting thing to look at there, because there are some talented tight ends that could definitely fall to the 3rd round. We'll see what happens. I would rather the Dolphins stick with what they have right now on their roster. Like I said, Hunter Long is still, I think, a very talented tight end. and especially in this offense, which I think fits him more than the previous one. I think they should just kind of stick with what they have. But like I said, it's a deep tight end draft. We'll see what they end up doing. And there's a lot of different things they could do in the third round. Moving on to this next news story, a lot of people thought this is what they might do with that third round pick. The Dolphins have signed Thomas Morstead, obviously formerly longtime punter for the New Orleans Saints. Was punting for the Jets last year. This comes from Pro Football Rumors. Had an average of about 47 yards a punt last year. And obviously this has been a huge issue for the Dolphins pretty much ever since even Brian Flores became the head coach. Matt Hawk was inconsistent his tenure in Miami, and then Matt Pilardi was very inconsistent this past season. In fairness to Matt Pilardi, we were punting way too much. But he wasn't good. So I think this is a huge upgrade in that position. And I think this is a really good signing for the Dolphins. That's it for the news, ladies and gentlemen. It's kind of crazy. I hopefully we can get this mic thing fixed soon. Sucks we couldn't do the fan Q&A this week. I think, honestly, the most interesting news to come out of this is the linebacker position, because the Dolphins, honestly, are spoiled rotten on the defensive side of the football. There's really no hole there. It just really is situationally. They could kind of get a little bit better in that area. And that's really all that's there. And it's going to be interesting to see what they do in the draft, because like I said, they could do a lot of different things there. I don't think a rookie player, though, lining up at a very important position on the defense is the answer, unless they hit it out of the park. Chris Grier has been very, very good at drafting players in those mid to late rounds, especially in those mid rounds. So it's going to be fun. I definitely want to make a video on the draft and my favorite players the Dolphins could pick at that position. So look forward to that coming out. The Melvin Ingram thing is definitely the most interesting news story, and definitely would keep an eye. But very excited to watch this team play on Sundays. The most excited I've been since I've been doing this channel. It's a very talented team, a lot of players to kind of hook your wagon to. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Please excuse the audio. Hopefully it wasn't that bad this time around. And I'll see you guys in the next one.